Broadcasting live from the Business RadioX studios in Phoenix, Arizona, it's time for Phoenix Business Radio, spotlighting the city's best businesses and the people who lead them.
Welcome to the latest podcast presented by the Arizona Committee of the Marine Corps Scholarship Foundation. We call our series Honoring Service and Embracing the Future, the Marine Corps Scholarship Foundation, Arizona, a Decade of Dedication. I'm your co-host and moderator, Mike Phillips. I'd like to introduce our other co-host, Victoria Rosacci, co-chair of the Marine Corps Scholarship Foundation Arizona Committee. Good afternoon, Victoria.
Good afternoon, Mike.
Before introducing our guests, I'd like to once again thank Karen Nowicki and her team at Phoenix Business RadioX for hosting our podcasts. We appreciate the opportunity to share great stories about veterans, the Marine Corps, and the Marine Corps Scholarship Foundation. Victoria, for those new to the podcast, please share a few details about the Marine Corps Scholarship Foundation.
The Marine Corps Scholarship Foundation is one of the country's oldest need-based scholarship programs, founded in 1962. We have awarded more than 47,000 scholarships worth over $145 million. Just last year in Arizona, we awarded a record 101 scholarships to Arizona students, and we expect to see that number increase in the year of 2020-2021 school year.
Thank you, Victoria. Often when we discuss scholarships it's in the context of a community college or a four-year university, but our Marine Corps scholarships can also assist students attending trade or vocational schools. And today we're honored to have several Marine veteran business owners who can talk about the value of trades and how young people can build a career in those fields. It's my pleasure to introduce Mike Sandoval, principal owner of Above and Beyond Pool Remodeling. Good afternoon, Mike.
Good afternoon, Mike. How are you doing?
Good, sir. How you doing?
Outstanding and improving.
Right on.
I like that.
Also joining us today is Jesse Keenan, owner, Semberfi Heating and Cooling, LLC. Good afternoon, Jesse.
Good afternoon. How you doing?
Good. Thanks for your time today. Thanks for coming by.
You're welcome.
And rounding out our team today is Robert Gutierrez, President, Bravada Yachts. Good afternoon, Robert.
Thanks for having us.
Gentlemen, it's great seeing you guys here today. Why don't you start us off by talking a little bit about your Marine Corps experience? How long did you serve? What was your specialty? And what experiences stick out for you? Mike, go ahead and lead us off.
About my Marine Corps experiences, I joined the Marine Corps in 99, and I did 15 years, 15 honorable years. And I know everybody always asks me, you were almost there. Why not 5 more years? Realistically, towards the end of my tenure, just started running the business. I had the business going. I had 3 children, lovely wife, and it just became a task. And the Marine Corps always makes it very convenient for us to serve, of course. So they put me in places where it was somewhat inconvenient to actually serve and still manage the business and a family. And at some point, I had to really think what was best for my family. So I opted to get out of the United States Marine Corps. But as you see, I'm still very active, and I support our local veterans, and I love doing that, and I do not regret my choice. Okay. I serve on the Marine Corps Scholarship Foundation with Victoria, and of course yourself. And it's just been wonderful. I feel like sometimes I need to be more involved, like we all do. But I love every part of it, and it's a great organization, and I think it's one of the better organizations in the United States from what I've seen and research as well.
And you mentioned running the business at the same time you were in the Marine Corps. I assume you were in the reserves and based in Phoenix and had an opportunity to develop a civilian life alongside your military life.
Yes, sir, that's correct. I was in Phoenix, and then I went to Tucson. And going to Tucson, being a staff sergeant, I've got Marines under me. I was ops and training chief down there. So it wasn't just a 2 weeks a year, 1 week in a month thing. Actually, it becomes an everyday thing. And I got Marines calling me, Marines that I got to tend to, and things that just need to be done. So it actually spreads out a lot farther than just 1 week in a month, 2 weeks a year, especially if you're in the United States Marine Corps and you're in a leadership billet.
Yeah, great point. And I think a lot of civilians don't realize really the complexity and commitment of a reservist role. But thank you for your service. Thank you for being here. Jesse, talk a little bit about your service time. When did you go in? What are some of the things that stick out for you?
I was a 2001 to 2005 Marine. I started as a motor T, 3531. I got rolled over to be a 3533. Quick story is I joined 4 months after my best friend joined. I was actually we're going to join together. And what happened was I got in a little bit of trouble with the law and I had to wait that 4 months, right? And so we ended up getting stationed in 29 Palms. I get stuck with the same unit, third LAR with him. And so they needed an ammo driver to go over to Okinawa the first time. And they never let me go. So I got stuck being a 0313 the whole time, trying to get back to the motor pool. It's a lot easier over there. But I served in Iraq, and was during the invasion of 2003. Did my 4 years and ended up getting out.
Great. Well, thank you for your service. And Robert, tell us a little bit about your experiences in the Marine Corps.
Sure. I guess I'm the old guy of the group. I was in from, 91 and 97. It seems like a few lifetimes ago, but I was an 0311 grunt. I was ground pounder and proud member of Camp Horno there at Camp Pendleton. 6 years active duty, 2 years active reserve. Enjoyed my time. Got out as sergeant. When I made the decision to get out, it was a tough one. I actually, what we refer to as the sickos who actually enjoyed the Corps, had to make a choice either get out or stay in. At the time, I knew I had to get out at some point. I started going to school my last year and a half where I served at a headquarters and support battalion there at Camp Pendleton. So I was able to go to school, work towards my degree, and I got my operations training during that period of time, and I decided to get out and continue down that path of operations, and I got into business and real estate after that, and it led me to eventually acquiring Bravada Yachts.
And we're going to talk more about that in a little bit. Several of you guys mentioned the transition and kind of the difficult decision to get out of the Marine Corps. Talk a little bit more about that. What's the transition like? What was it like for you from going from the Marines to a civilian and ultimately a business owner? How did you make that leap, and what training did you need to acquire to get where you're at today?
Yeah, so I actually say that I had two transitions. I had the transition. So in 2003, when I got mobilized and deployed to Iraq, I had that transition where I left the Phoenix unit. I left the Phoenix unit with the Marines that I served with, the Marines that I was in the trenches with. I left those Marines and got out, and then I eventually went over into Tucson. So that was hard, having served with those guys, and they were brothers to me. And again, by the way, I still talk to and deal with and go to their Christmas parties, or they go to mine, or birthday parties for our kids. We're still very, very, very close. But that was one transition. And then I had the other transition of just getting out of the Marine Corps in general. When I left the Tucson unit, I actually went through a little bit of depression. Like, some people may look at that like, well, that's weird. No, it's not weird. I mean, these are guys that, like, when our biological family wasn't around, they were our family. Yeah. And to leave them and you miss those conversations and those good times, or just hanging out, or when you were down or when you were up, they were there for you. And it's just this big family. But what I shortly realized when I left the Marine Corps is you don't leave the family. You leave the unit, okay? But those experiences, those memories, that camaraderie, you don't lose that. That stays with you. And I think that's something that needs to be preached to a lot more Marines when getting out of units, is that you don't lose that. You keep that. In fact, in most cases, that can very well increase, okay? So that was the second transition for me, and it was a little rough, but that's why I love to be in the realm of doing things for our veterans, giving back, dealing with Antonio, talking to Antonio. I love conversations with him. We know I have a lot of mutual friends. We didn't serve together, but we have a lot of mutual friends that were served with him, but also served with myself. So I just love that. And the transition was a little rough at first, but we made it happen and have no regrets.
That's great. That's great. Robert, talk to us a little bit about that transition for you.
Yeah, I'd like to add to what you're saying there, especially with social media today. I tell you about, and I'll come back to my transition, but 6-7 months ago, I got hit up by a buddy on Facebook, an old Marine buddy, and he was connected to pretty much my entire old unit. It was like Christmas morning when I had that first invite. I was like, dude, I haven't seen you for forever, and to see his family and how great that was, it was like we were still in that trench in Iraq together. We never, missed a beat. We got on the phone call about half an hour after he hit me up on Facebook, and we talked for a couple hours. It was like we're best friends again. And it's interesting because he was connected to my entire unit. We hit up, we created a whole separate group, and it's amazing, as you just stated, that the camaraderie is just amazing, and you connect so well with these brothers. that it's something you just don't lose. And so the transition was very hard. I was at Headquarters Support Battalion, as I mentioned, my last year and a half. That's definitely different than the infantry unit I was used to. As a matter of fact, I remember seeing my first female Marine and calling her ma'am, because that's what she used to doing, right? And she was a private, and that was weird for me because back then at Camp Horno, you didn't see female Marines very often. And so that first move from infantry battalion to over to more of an admin support in the S3 there at Headquarters and Support was my first transition, which was unique. Then you go through SEP's company for your last period of time there, and I remember being nervous, going to the civilian ranks, and how that adjustment was gonna be. After getting out, the first couple of years were rough. I missed the unit. I was wondering if I made the right decision because I enjoyed it. The brotherhood was amazing. The training was phenomenal, and it was something I thought I was going to do until I retired. And so making that leap was very difficult. So for a couple of years, I struggled with it. It was hard to get used to civilian life, even though that Headquarters Support Battalion time frame was there. It was a very hard transition. I remember the difficulty of that. But I maintained. I did what I had to do, and just like all of us, we adapt and overcome, or semper gumby, right?
That's right.
And make things happen. So that's what we did.
Yeah, thank you for those thoughts, and it's so true. It's a tough deal to take that leap. First of all, to get in the Marine Corps and go through, become a Marine, and then that time when you leave the Marine Corps and you're entering into the civilian world. And I think it's helpful to talk about your experiences for the guys that are in there now and contemplating what they're going to do. And again, that's another point that we'll get into in a little bit. But I wanted to wrap it up with Jesse and ask you about your transition experiences and kind of maybe the feelings and challenges that you went through.
Yeah, so back to what they're saying, we actually just had a Marine Corps reunion this last Saturday. And so I haven't seen some of those guys 16, 17 years. And right when we got back with each other, it was just like the old times. There was nothing, not a skip, nothing missed. We're drinking beer, laughing, and it just, like we're back in the field. So that was kind of cool.
Yeah.
So like Mike said, the brotherhood always stays. It just never leaves. I was in Okinawa for the second time when, I was getting to be a short timer. And so basically my unit was going back to Iraq. They said, you can either re-enlist or you can get out. And I said, well, what are you offering? And they said nothing. So I was like, all right, well, I'll take, back in those days, I'd take $5,000 over to re-enlist it all day. But, the Marines don't get very much stuff. So I ended up getting out. And so I ended up checking out from Tanks Battalion because my whole unit was back in Iraq. So I didn't get all the fun stuff before you get out. So the first couple years was kind of rough for me when I got out. Definitely a lot of drinking, bar fighting, and all that fun stuff. And then, then I settled down and went to school and stuff. But I would say, like he was saying over here, it's the first 2 years is definitely a rough patch. And if you can get yourself in a trade school or do something like that real fast, you might have a better opportunity.
Yeah, obviously, the paths you guys have chosen has worked out pretty good. And I want to ask you guys about your businesses. How you got into it, what you do, and then let's talk a little bit about how folks that are just starting out, how they can get into the trades and the businesses. And Robert, let's start off with you.
Sure. Well, as I mentioned, I was in the S3, which is Operations and Training in the Marine Corps, and as a sergeant, I had held a captain's billet where I was in charge of setting up the training programs for Headquarters and Support and some of the other units out there in Camp Pendleton. So I didn't know it at the time because when you're that young, you don't really understand what they're making you do. But the Marine Corps is training me to get into operations, and so it wasn't later in life when I look back and realized that was my introduction to operations. And as I started getting into opening up different businesses, I've always been very entrepreneurial. Opened up a landscaping business as soon as I got out of the Corps, and just used a lot of that operational training that I got. And from there, I opened up a mobile notary business, and I realized how much money loan officers were making. And I said, you know what, I'm going to get into finance. And I started learning about mortgages, and eventually got into private equity, hard money lending, commercial real estate, did some land development in different parts of the country. And then I'm going to just fast forward into things. About in the beginning of 2017, my partner, a good friend of mine that I'd known for over a decade, Aaron, gave me a call and said, "Hey, there's this boat company out in Arizona I want to buy. What do you think?" And I knew nothing about boats, and let alone I was in California. Didn't want to come to Phoenix back then, and so I came out, my wife and I, and we opened the books, looked at the business, and it just made sense. Bravada had a great brand, and I knew I can bring the operational support that it needed to rebuild it. It was down to 3 employees at the time, and it was getting ready to go to auction, actually. And so we pulled it out at a good time. We rebuilt the brand. We're up to about, across all the companies, we're up to 97 employees now. We've built a great organization. It's been hard. It's been nearly almost 4 years of just making decisions every single day and a lot of sleepless nights that I'm thankful for the Marine Corps to actually give me that drive to kind of persevere through that. And I do credit the Marine Corps with that. And so during the last few years, we've built something. We created Bravada Yachts Transport, which is a transportation division of Bravada Yachts Manufacturing. I've also created a brokerage, which is Bravada Logistics. So we're able to broker trucks, and we have 14 trucks that do over-the-road hauling right now when they're not hauling boats. And whenever I need to haul boats, I call our team in, and we pick them up. And matter of fact, some of our guys are fellow servicemen too. I hire a lot of vets. They're bringing a boat from Kentucky right now out here to Phoenix, and it's all synergetic and circled around Bravada Yachts Manufacturing, and it's been fun. It's been hard. It's been testing, but again, the Marine Corps taught us to persevere and make things happen, and that's what we've done.
Thank you. That's wonderful. I love your background, and I love all your businesses. I think that's an inspiration to people to see how to set up, try, keep trying, find your niche, and then expand on your services, and then be able to tie it all back together again, and then use your trucks when they're not in use for hauling boats. I think that's an awesome thing to do, because then nothing's sitting.
That's right.
So that's amazing. So many people can't find the time, the effort, or the stress of all of that. Yeah. But it sounds like you're managing really well. And I think that's a tribute to you, obviously, and also your training, your service, and to strive for success.
Yeah, if I can add, it's really about our team. We've had to work really hard to develop the team we have, and it goes back to what we're talking about. As you guys know, in the Marine Corps, they teach you about your fire teams, your units, right? You develop the team you have, you build them up together, and you become great together, right? And so we've really tried to do that there at Bravada, and we have a dynamic team. If you go to the website, you'll see all the different, everything from plumbing to HVAC, electrical engineers, and across the board the drivers. But it's not about what I can do, even though I have that drive to create what we've created. It's the team has actually created Bravada what it is. And I'm really proud of our guys, the same as I am about our Marine Corps brothers over here who serve their country.
Thank you. That's great. All right, Mike, you're up. Tell us all about your business.
Okay, we are an Arizona limited liability company. My wife, Diana, and myself, we own the company. We're a local company. We're actually based out of Gilbert, Arizona, but we do work valley-wide. We do the entire Phoenix metro area. I started as a kid with my father working in the capacity of swimming pools, but didn't really build swimming pools or remodel swimming pools complete. We just did decorative concrete and concrete coatings. To kind of shoot to the future, just kind of rush forward here a little bit, just save you the story. So right after high school, I actually worked with my dad for a little while as part ownership in an older business that he had doing just concrete coatings around swimming pools. I went to the Marine Corps. My dad was a very hard guy to work with. We had lots of confrontation, and he was a hard guy to work with. He's very set in his ways. Love my dad to death, still do today. So when I came back from the Marine Corps, I decided to literally go off on my own, to branch off on my own. But I wanted to do things differently. I wanted to do things differently in a sense where I wanted it to make it a patriotic-based business. I wanted people to see above and beyond and know that we were veteran-owned. I wanted them to see above and beyond and know that we stood behind those principles of Marine Corps leadership. I wanted to build the business off of that. So I had a lot of ideas that my dad didn't necessarily agree with. Very old school in his methods and his methodology. But it turns out my dad ended up being my first salesman with Above and Beyond for the first, I think, 5 years. And as we built the company and I got more involved in the company, I really quickly learned that the best way to build a business, the best way to build any business, and the best way that I built this business is to invest in other people. There's an old saying that I use. People don't care what you know. until they know that you care. Okay. I tell my sales team, I tell my supers out there, we got a sales team of 8. We got 6 supers out there. I run about 43 crews throughout the day in the Phoenix metro area, from chipper crews to interior finish crews, tile crews, plumbing crews, electrical crews, on and on and on. And I tell these guys, when you're interacting with those clients, just put your phone in your back pocket, just listen to them, have good eye contact, and let them know that you care about them. Okay? When they understand that you care about them and their project, that makes the world of difference. Things don't always go perfect. Things aren't perfect. That's the world we live in. But when there's something that goes wrong and that client knows that you genuinely care about them and their project, it just makes things so much easier. Makes easier on the sales side of things, the super and the oversight of things, the logistics and the back end and the office and the administration. So much easier when people understand that you care. People ask me all the time, they say, Mike, what do you do for a living? I said, well, I invest in people. They say, no, really, what do you do for a living? I said, I invest in people. I just happen to do it through swimming pools. Okay. The Marine Corps gave me that jump. The Marine Corps gave me the principles of Marine Corps leadership, kind of showed me how to lead, showed me how to, be the tip of the spear and take charge. And you got to remember, all leadership is being an example. Okay, that's all it is. Being an example. That's what leadership is. Leadership isn't cracking a whip. Leadership isn't making somebody do something. It's really not even delegating. Leadership is actually just being an example that somebody else can follow. Okay. And I like to think I've done that very well in the business, and I continue to do that. And it fits right in with this Marine Corps Scholarship Foundation program because it's a way that we can give back, but a way that above and beyond can step up in a community, in the eyes of the community, and take leadership and show that we're giving back and we're not just this company out there. I'm not going to say any names, but we have competition like everybody does. But a lot of these companies, they make all this money, but what do they do with that money? And again, it's their money. They work hard for it. As long as they pay their taxes, they can do whatever they want with it. But you know what? I feel that if I'm blessed and I'm going to get this work and I'm going to get this money and be supported by our veteran community, I'm going to give back to our veteran community. And that's where Above and Beyond stands. And every opportunity I get, we give veteran discounts. We do the veteran giveaway annually that we do. We assist in the Marine Corps Scholarship Foundation. We just love to be on the forefront of helping our veterans, and we love for our veterans to know that. So we love our company. We love the Marine Corps. With the Marine Corps Scholarship Foundation, it makes me feel every single day like I didn't leave the Marine Corps, like I'm still involved. There's so many contacts that I have even in the Scholarship Foundation that are Marines, and I get to talk to and network with and so on and so forth. So we love what we do. I give you a little history about my business and how that transitions so well into the Marine Corps Scholarship Foundation. But I love being a Marine first and foremost, but I love being a business owner, and they just go hand in hand. And I found a way I found that harmonic balance to run the business successfully, but still give back to the community and our veterans.
Thank you. And actually, we met at the Marine Corps Scholarship Foundation annual awards dinner because you had provided a pool. If you want to talk about that, Above and Beyond, and the pool that you graciously built.
Yes. We actually gave a swimming pool, an entire swimming pool build. We gave a swimming pool build and spa combo to a Navy veteran. She was actually a Navy corpsman, so she works. She's on the green side with the Marines, and she got injured and almost died, almost lost her life, and she had some medical conditions that she basically needed therapy. Okay. And having a spa and a pool for the therapy would really help her condition. And this got presented to us by a local American Legion chapter. And they brought this lady to us. Her name was Holly Katke. And they brought her to us, and we were just in love with her story. We were in love with her, and we said, we want to do this. We want to step up. We want to do this. How can Above and Beyond be a part of this? And so we did it, and we made it happen. And Holly Katke, as well as myself, was invited, and we actually sat at your table.
Yes, you did, and we haven't let you go since.
You haven't. And it was a great honor. And we're still real good friends. She texts me regularly. We're friends on Facebook, and every time she sees me, she just wants to thank me. And I'm like, Holly, listen, stop thanking me. Like, let's make a deal. Every time I see you, I should thank you because you've helped me equally as much, if not more, than I've ever helped you. And people don't realize that in giving, you're the one being helped. versus the person that you're helping in a lot of cases. And I believe that. And she has done so much for us in our company. And just by allowing us to do this, because there's a lot of pride. Our veterans have a lot of pride, and a lot of them don't want to accept that. They don't want to accept a free pool. They don't want to accept a handout or money. And that it's not what it was. It was a hand up. But a lot of our veterans have that pride. So yes, that is how I met you, was at the Marine Corps Scholarship Foundation ball.
Yeah, that was awesome.
It was.
All right, Jesse, you're up next. We're going to grab you too. So let's hear your story.
All right.
Bring you
I'll tell you the
aboard.
story.
We're going to bring you aboard.
Yeah. I literally started Semperfi Heating and Cooling out of my garage. So I stayed in the HVAC industry. I went to school to RSI, did all that fun stuff, and just worked at probably, 10 to 15 different companies through my career. And I just knew I could do it better. And so, I just started right out of my garage, started, getting in flyers and, actually walking around to different parks and stuff like that on the mobile homes, and started this my first year. We hit $1 million my first year out, which is insane for any startup company. And there's a couple reasons why I think I hit that. It definitely has to do with the Marine Corps. I mean, there's so many people like against you that's in your corner, saying, "Oh, this guy's not going to make it," oh, blah blah blah. And the Marine Corps like really makes you drive, right? You're gonna win no matter what. You're not gonna fail. You're not gonna quit. And I think that drove me to where we're at today. And we're about a $20 million company. We'll hit about $20 million this year. So I think that's pretty awesome. So that's a good little story.
No, that's awesome. That's great to hear. I want to talk just a minute really quickly about the trades, if you would. Mechanical, trucking, HVAC, pools. You talk about concrete, talk about the equipment, the electrical. You guys are all in these amazing fields that we cannot live without. We must have people and education in all these different fields. They're not all Bachelor of Arts, which is what I have, doing other things, which was a stepping stone to another step in my life of education. But when we talk about education, one of the awesome things about the Marine Corps Scholarship Foundation is that we're really promoting the trade schools, and we're really promoting these students to get into the trades. And one of the things we would love to bridge here in Phoenix is that as these students come out of these different programs and whatnot, we would love for them to have mentors. And so when they listen to this podcast and they hear $20 million a year, and they hear the success of Michael's company, and they hear the success of Robert's company, and what you went through, it's not easy. And it started in your garage, and it started with multiple starts, and it started with, your dad, making it. It's probably a good challenge for you to say, you know what, Dad, I'm going to do it my way, and here's how I became successful. But you give me the pillars, and the Marine Corps gives you those pillars. So we're really wanting to work on letting the students know how important it is. And you guys are so successful and an amazing example. And we would love to just at some point, if we could, just mentor and let them know these are amazing things you can do with your life. And we allow trade applications all year round for our students. So children of Marines, Navy corpsmen, they can apply all year round for any of the programs. And I don't know, where you guys hire out of, and I'm not sure. I'm sure you have some apprentice-like programs and whatnot, but that's one of the things that we're really trying to promote, because we do obviously fund for university and, community college, but trade schools kind of got our heart right now. And because the programs, some of them are shorter, 12 weeks or 16 weeks, and some are longer and some are shorter. And we just want to really get that out there, that the application period is all year round. If you have any tips or anything, feel free to chime in for any students attending.
I guess so.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so a little. I know I got cut off a little bit because I kind of stopped. I was like, oh, what was I talking about? But for about Semperfi, about 70% of our employees are former military. A lot of Marines. We finally got our first Navy guy. Usually they go to college, right? We got a couple Army guys and stuff like that. So I would say at least like 8 of them I've hand trained and put them into our kind of system and stuff like that. And these guys are making like $180,000 a year. It's no joke. So I would really like, the HVAC industry is just popping off, and it's going to be one of the biggest industries in the next 10 years. So if somebody's looking to go somewhere, RSI or any kind of trade school, air conditioning can give you a really, really good life.
Sounds great to me. I don't know. Maybe it's like my second or third career I'm going to get into. Because I have to tell you, I'm sure everyone in Phoenix for sure, all of Arizona, but Phoenix being the hot box that it is, there is nothing worse than coming home and your air conditioning did not turn on when you thought it would. And you're like, why does it seem so warm in here today? So obviously we have a great need in our state. But do you feel like that's around the country as well in the different industry?
Yeah, it's through like all our industries. There's a huge shortage, and I know these guys can probably back me on this. There's such a shortage on like HVAC technicians, probably concrete guys, pool equipment and stuff that you guys do. So I would really highly recommend if you're not going to go to college, go to a trade school. You're going to be making more than a family doctor right now because there's such in demand right now.
That's very true. If I can add to that, like even on our boats, HVAC is so critically important. And finding good guys who can do that in a marine environment, even it's very hard to do. And we found the guys that have gone to school, that have worked in different facets of the industry, residential, commercial, and it's really an art. These vocational schools are in some cases, these guys are artists more than they are, of a discipline, right? And just if I can say that. And it's amazing to watch their skill level. They, from the HVAC guys, I'd be totally interested in seeing what you do there because it's fascinating. But our HVAC guys, I mean, these guys are artists. Our welders are artists. Our plumbers are artists. I would say find something that, Jesse, like I'm sure you got into HVAC because it's something that you said yourself you can do it better. That's that artistic side of you that pushed you in that that kind of a direction, and so you did do it better clearly. Right. And so it's really interesting to watch I didn't go to a vocational school and I went to the Marine Corps, went to college and did that thing and was able to open up the business. But to look at these guys and just the passion they have for what they do is really, it's really the fascinating part. It's almost humbling from the passion that I have is different, but I'm not an artist. These guys are artists. And so I would say finding something you like the HVAC, as an example, and then and pursue that on your artist side, if that makes sense. Because you do that, you're gonna find success. You're gonna do it better, right, Jesse? And
100%.
right, and you're gonna find that right fit for your future. And I tell my guys all the time, look, you guys got a job with us, but it's a career now. We want you to retire with us. And I want to really push that with our guys and the guys that we've been able to hold on to and keep with us because it's a very competitive market for sure are the artists, the guys that really get passionate about what they do. So I would just say, rambling on, pick something that you enjoy, pick something you can be an artist at, go to the vocational school. I think that is more incredible than even going to get a 4-year degree, if I can say that. And because to me, that's more complicated. It's harder, but it allow you to pursue a side of you that will set you up for success, right? So
all of these are such well-respected careers. And like I said before, it's so well needed. And so I really feel like, bringing this conversation up front and promoting it and thank you for your different, self-employed, which I love. It's like my favorite niche thing. Because I think that that's what we're made of. It's, finding your business that you want to do, get in there, get it going, get started, and then your team. And that's what you guys have. And I as a wife of a Marine, it's so repetitive in everybody that we meet. So we pick up somebody, they were a Marine, they're now in our group, they're part of our family, and they have the same attributes. They run in a close community. It's work hard, success, and all those pillars. And I just find the strength incredible. And I really admire that. I admired it in my own husband, how hard he works and what he does and the passion that we bring. And, to be perfectly honest with you, my husband's the older Marine too.
okay.
So he would have been Desert Storm, but he did not deploy. And then he got out before the next, thing that has never ended, to be honest with you. I think we're still everywhere in the Middle East. But anyway, giving back is where we found our passion. And so because, Antonio was already out of the Marine Corps, we give back. We do charity work. We work with veterans. We do, we're on the Marine Corps Scholarship Foundation, but he does veteran appeals for disability. We hire as well, and we mentor, and he mentors incredibly. So I love that because it's so, it's just amazing to hear it, because every time we meet somebody new, out of 5 things, three or 4 are shared. And that's a really incredible thing to do. And I don't know if it has to do with the way that you all enter the Marine Corps, the reasons you enter, maybe they're very similar. But coming out, it's great. And everyone has a transition story, as hard as it is. And my husband kind of just had the guilt because he was already out and he was a little bit older to sign back up. So he couldn't go back in really to serve. So it was a lot of struggle for him. And so we had to find our place. And we did a lot of pro bono work. We're lawyers. We did a lot of pro bono work to help people deploying. And we were doing legal documents for them and talking to their families and working on it. So there's always a way to give and be a part of this community. And I think that's amazing. And I think Marine families are unique. My dad was in the Army, and my stepdad was in the Air Force, so I have a lot of experience, but there's nothing like a Marine, I will tell you right now. And the life that we've led together, me and my husband. And I really appreciate your time today, Mike and I. It's just so amazing to have, you take the time off of your businesses to come in to talk with us, to hear about the foundation that we work with, which is educating children. Because where would we be without education, without our children, without families, and without the businesses that you all are involved with? So, we really appreciate your time and coming down here and working with us and being a part of our family, which, once you were in, it's like, I'm Italian, you're not getting out here. Yeah, you guys are stuck. Sorry, we have your contact information. And we really just enjoy, I love hearing about your backgrounds, your stories, your businesses, your families, because that's what we're about as well. And I'll pass it back to my partner, Mike.
Thank you, Victoria. And I just want to echo what Victoria said. We appreciate your time. Your stories are inspiring, and that's part of the magic of the podcast. I think is we get to share the stories, and your exuberance comes across, your passions come across, and it's not only enlightening, but it's inspiring for folks. And so, thank you for sharing those stories. And we, as Victoria said, we're working with folks that are in that transition period, and they're stepping out that door, and it's the big wide world, and there's a million choices, and as we all talked about today, that can be tough. So you guys are kind of providing a roadmap for folks, and that's really significant. As is the Marine Corps Scholarship Foundation, it's opening doors for folks that otherwise wouldn't have those opportunities. And that's the magic of it and the thrill of it. When you see somebody who goes through the program and gets a degree or starts a business and builds their life. I mean, that's really cool stuff. And that's what the foundation's all about. So thank you guys. And I want to hand the microphone back to Victoria again, because you're really snapped into what's going on with the foundation. If you could just talk a little bit about where we're at. I mean, we're in the middle of COVID, hopefully in the tail end of COVID. So not a lot's been going on the last year, but I know there are things in the works, and maybe you can enlighten our audience about that.
So we have, obviously our campaign was stalled a little bit, like everything else. Our ball dinner gala is postponed to May of 2022. So we hope you all can attend. You have a year to get your outfit ready. No, I'm kidding. But unfortunately, we were not able to host that event again this year. But next year is 60 years of the foundation. And so we feel like it'll be an amazing event happening next year. But in the meantime, we are working on our fundraising goals. Mike and I are working on a scholarship honoring the 3 Marines that were in the Hot Shots team that were part of the Granite Mountain 19 that perished in the fires in 2013. So we are working on 3 scholarships for those 3 Marines. They're 3 named scholarships, and giving preference to children of Marines or Navy corpsmen up in Yavapai County. So once we get those funded, any student that applies will get preference out of Yavapai County for those 3 scholarships. And many people just were not aware that 3 on that team were United States Marine Corps veterans. So we've been working on that pretty passionately. We have some other scholarships that have been named this year that we're working on to get the kids back in school, get funded. And I'm really goal-driven, like you all are. So we had 101 scholarships awarded last year in the state of Arizona. I would love to see 150, 200. because California and Texas and the East Coast beat us, and that just can't happen. So more applications, more kids applying is what we're looking for, so we can continue to grow our students in Arizona and basically help fund their education. Every student that hits the criteria does receive a scholarship. So some of the amounts vary, but every one of them will get it if you see the criteria online. So it's a really, really great program that we're running and helping the children of Marines who've served attend college, university, and trade school. And our license plates, if you haven't seen them out there, go get one. Those are charity plates, and it says U.S. Marine Corps on it, but that's us. We back that plate, and $17 out of your $25 goes directly to the foundation to fund our scholarships. So if you see them around, they're kind of fun. People put really interesting stuff on them. I need a translator half the time because my husband knows what it means, and I certainly do not. When people are listing how they serve, the nicknames for what they serve, I mean, it's crazy. It's a game. But in any event, we see a lot of proud Marines, but anybody can get the plate. It is not a military plate. So we like to promote that as well. We're hitting landmarks on that. We started in 2015. We had to get through the legislature, and we have just topped out at $553,000 raised from that license plate. So yeah, good stuff. So if you get one, just keep renewing it because it does help. And we tell a lot of the Marines, the younger Marines, the Marines that are still serving, that's your way of giving. If you want to give a little something, so when your child receives a scholarship, you participated, they love that because it's $25 a year. But they know they're renewing, and we know that overall that's a great accumulation. So a lot of our younger Marines or Marines that aren't in a position to donate or feel that sense of, oh, but my kid's getting a scholarship, what can I do? Get a license plate. Tell your family to get a license plate. Those are kind of the highlights of what's going on, but we're an active committee. We're called the Scarlet and Gold Committee. Michael's on our committee, and anyone's welcome to join. We have monthly meetings, and we really are out in the community trying to get the word out. And big thing right now is promotion of the scholarship. Get these kids to continue applying because we really want to promote them and put them in school.
Thank you, Victoria. Gents, you get anything you want to add before we sign out here?
Yes, I do. Listening to Victoria speak about the trade schools, really pushing the trade schools, like I get all excited. I get just like warm and fuzzy. I'm all like pumped up right now. I'm telling you, I've been speaking to people about this for about the past 2 years. I'm going to tell you, I've been speaking to my own kids about this. I've got a kid he's 15 years old. He's almost 16. I've got a 13-year-old and a 12-year-old. I've talked to my wife about this intensely. My son wants to go to East Valley Institute of Technology. He wants to actually go into building cars. I have a huge car fetish. Anybody knows me, they know. So my son wants to get into doing body work and working on cars, which is like almost becoming a dying trade, okay? Well, going back to my business, and then I know Jesse talked about it in his business, and Robert talked about it in his business. There's people in certain skill sets of all of our businesses, okay? They're a dying breed. For example, in the swimming pool business, we got shock readers. Anybody get a pool built, they know what a shock reader is. That's the guy that sprays in the concrete shell of a swimming pool. Well, guess what, folks? There's no trade school for a shock reader, at least not in Arizona that I know of. These guys aren't learning at a trade school, which shock readers, just to give you guys an idea right now, they're the most backed up trade in our career field, okay? So what that means is, let's say you were building a pool, Mike. If you're building a pool and you're at a point where you need shotcrete, your pool could be sitting in a hole. I mean, literally, you have a hole in the ground with steel, plumbing, and electrical. It could be sitting there for up to 6 months before that shotcrete crew can even get you on schedule. There are very few shotcreters. They're not going to schools. They're not being produced. They're not being pumped out. The only guys that are doing shotcrete right now are people who grew up kind of like I did in the trades. They learn it from their dad, from their uncle, from their cousins. Everybody in that business knows each other, and the ones that are out there actually branched off, bought their own rigs, and started their own companies. It's so important. We got it. I mean, at some point, are we even going to have people that do certain trades? Are they just going to die off completely? So think about this. Supply and demand. I know we need our doctors. We need our attorneys. We need our nurses. We need people that are educated enough to take care of us when we fall sick. I understand all that. I get it. I read it loud and clear. However, we also have other basic needs. We need to live in a home. Okay. We need to have cars built. We need to have certain things to accommodate those lifestyles that we have as Americans. And those trades are falling off. I think about it when I was a kid, going back, 20 years ago, 25 years ago, and I remember my dad specifically saying, "Mijo," call me son, "Mijo" in Spanish, right? "Mijo, go to school so you don't end up like me." And he would say that. And I hear that now, and I repeat that in my head, and it breaks my heart to think that my dad thought less of himself because he worked in the trades. And I work in the trades, okay? I'm not formally educated. I like to say I'm educated. I'm just not formally educated. I work in the trades, but I made a business out of it. And I actually have a lot of educated people and formally educated people that work for us, for our company. Okay, should rephrase that. They work with us. Nobody works for us. But what I'm saying is trades are very important, and our society is putting out less and less and less tradesmen in all aspects, from body work on cars to air conditioning to boats to automobiles to houses to swimming pools. We need to start educating our youth and help them understand that going to school to be, I'm sorry, Victoria, not picking on you, I promise. Going to school to be an attorney is not the only option. It's a great option. I wish I could be, when I was, younger, I wish I could have been in school at Victoria, but I just went a different path. But there is still money to be made there, and our youth need to understand that. And I think by really hitting hard on the trade schools is going to do so much for that need and that demand. Let's think about this real quick. This COVID, we're hearing right now, folks, we're hearing so much about the hospitality industry just being beat up. We're hearing about restaurants going out of business. We're hearing about certain aspects of our small businesses going out of business. But what we're not hearing is other businesses are just going through the roof. The trades right now, if you come to Above and Beyond, folks, right now, with 43 crews in the Phoenix metro area every single day, 6 days a week, okay, you're looking into September, October. The swimming season is done. We're booking into September and October. I'm sure Jesse's doing the same. Robert might be doing the same. Why? Because we have a lack of skilled tradesmen. We cannot just go to Home Depot and get people to provide the necessary work that's needed in these trades. So these people have to be skilled. What better place to get them skilled and trained than a vocational school that Victoria was talking about here, that the Marine Corps Scholarship Foundation is going to back and intends to keep on backing. Okay. I get all excited when I talk about this because that is a big deal. I'm talking to my son right now. My son, I said earlier, wants to go to a trade school to learn how to work on vehicles. Okay. I have a vehicle right now. It's been in a shop 5.5 years. I just pulled it to put it into another shop. Why? Because the people that are working on it do not have the manpower to work on it. I should have had that car in the shop for 9 months to 12 months. It's been 5.5 years. That car is 40% done. There are not enough tradesmen in society, in where we live, to handle the demand of, just our living standards. So sorry to get so long-winded, but I'm all excited about the trade schools. I think it's great.
It's great stuff, and it's a great message to young people, stepping out, looking for a career. I mean, here it is, folks. It's wide open. The opportunities are tremendous. Jesse, Robert, got anything you want to add?
It sounds like we're all hiring, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
a good company is always hiring.
That's right. We're looking for tradesmen, HVAC, plumbers, electricians, welders, tile workers, drywallers,
attorneys.
And while we're on the air, share with us how folks can reach your business.
Well, you can just go to bravadayachts.com. The phone number's there. And you can email, if you're looking for a job, you can email hr@bravadayachts.com and somebody get in touch with you. But we are hiring aggressively right now, and we are looking for tradesmen. That's critical for what we do. And our things are anything, if you have experience in commercial construction, residential construction, or marine construction, you'll fit into what we do. And so we're looking for that, full force. So sounds like we all are, though. So we'll compete for the best talent.
Absolutely.
Michael, if somebody wants to reach out to Above and Beyond, where do they go?
aabpools.com. Go ahead and send us a contact inquiry on our website. We've got our phone number. 480-830-9209. You can reach us there, or you can do a Marine Corps sign in the sky right there. No, I'm just joking.
That's awesome.
No, you can find us. We're online. We're on the first page of Google. Look up pool remodeling, pool renovation, swimming pools. You're going to see us. We are not hard to find. Our headquarters is in Gilbert, Arizona, but we work valley-wide.
Jesse.
Yeah, I would just like to go on the fact too. I 100% agree with Mike over here. He's so right about the trades. So if you're a younger guy getting out of the Marine Corps or just looking for a trade, I mean, these trades are they're paying out so much money. To get a hold of us, you can go to semperfiheatingcooling.com or give us a call at 480-616-3636. And if you're a Marine, Army, I'm just telling you, veterans make the best employees. They're hardworking. Definitely, we're hiring all the time.
Outstanding. Semper Fi to all you guys. Thank you for your service. Thank you for your time today, and I look forward to working with you down the road in the future.
Thank you.
Semper Fi.
Semper Fi.